Happy August. This is Melissa from Evergrowing Farm, bringing you our farm tour for the month. The garden is a little battered this morning. We had quite the downpour last night, but it should be happier today for the rain. So I'm going to start off here with these beds. You can see this bed up front looks quite naked. This bed has become our fall and winter bed because all of the things that we planted in it for our summer harvest didn't do so well. So I just pulled it all out, and we have lots of greens going on in there. We have kale and spinach and some lettuce and some spicy salad mix, and then of course a few nasturtiums that did take off. Back behind there you'll see a jungle of dill and some random tomato plants. Our herbs back there in the corner are doing very well. I just chopped those all back and have lots of herbs drying. Next to the herbs there, you'll see another random bed. We've got some calendula, we've got some tomatoes. I just planted a bunch of roots in there that hopefully will take off in the next 2 months before we get a freeze. And then here in front of you, you see this massive explosion of corn. We've got some heirloom soybeans that are native to New Mexico, which is different. And there's some beets in there as well, so this is a little bio-intensive bed. I'm going to go ahead and pass this bed. As you see, I have some corn that fell in the storm. We have some squash here. We've got some summer squash here in the front and a tiny little sad butternut squash that's trying to take off, not doing so well. And here we have some beans that are just starting to take off up our crazy trellis. Alright, so forgive me as I pass these. Let's see. Here in the back you'll see there's a tomato back there tucked in and a bunch of bush beans. Those are doing really well this year. In this bed back there in the corner there was our garlic. And I just put a bunch of fall and winter greens in there as well. And then this bed up front here, this is our squash bed, and it was doing really well until just a couple of days ago. Had some Hubbard squash in there that was doing great, and some summer squash that was just taking off. And all of a sudden in the last couple of days I've got my leaves have gone wilty. I think we got some squash vine borers. I have not investigated yet, but I'm going to check it out and see if I need to get rid of them, see if we can at least save a couple of the plants, but I'm not sure. We have our pallet beds. Kim put a bunch of random stuff in there. Some of it's doing really well, some of it has not germinated, but we have some cucumbers up top, some peas, some sunflowers looks like. And then here we have a tomato that I am afraid has curly leaf virus because it's looking real sad again, real fast. Over here next to the red palette you'll see another tomato that's looking really sad. And that's the only thing that I can think that it is curly leaf virus, because they've been healthy otherwise, but you can see all the leaves are starting to die back, and they are a little purple as well, which is a telltale sign. Alright, so let's come over here to a healthier bed. Here we have some more bush beans and some cucumbers climbing up the trellis. Here we have an heirloom tomato that is flanked by yarrow that I've been harvesting pretty regularly in an effort to build our medicinal herb arsenal in the house. 2 more little tomatoes. I just planted yesterday some bush beans around the base of them in the hope of filling out that bed. I had planted a bunch of roots, and instead of them coming up we had a ton of weeds, which, you know, it's a thing. Forgive the trash in the yard. Alright, so here's another little bed. Again, it mirrors the other one. So we have some squash in here, and then this one has cucumbers that will climb up this trellis all the way up to the top of our portal. Alright, so we're going to walk past the chickens. They are quite animated this morning with the rain that we got. We are in the process of figuring out if we are going to cull several chickens. I think we're going to give some away to an acquaintance so she can have a few laying hens. And then it's time to cull some of our older ladies. I think we're going to lessen our flock and stick to a smaller number for the future. I'm going to show you this real fast. We have our rain barrel, and we have been getting lots of rain for a change. The unfortunate thing is we get all this rain and then the ground doesn't need to be watered for a while, and then our rain barrels overflow, as you can see there. So I guess there are worse things, but you can only catch so much rain on 1/8 of an acre and not have rain barrels everywhere. So here we're going to walk into our front yard. Walk past our apricot tree, which is happy. We had some lacewings that laid their eggs on this tree, which is awesome because we had just started an infestation of aphids. So I asked the question on my Facebook page, and luckily people knew what those beautiful little eggs were, and they were lacewing eggs. So our aphids are slowly being eaten away by the lacewings, which is really cool. Alright, here we have another biointensive bed. We have our corn. This one is further along than the other one. We got corn, beans, and beets again in there. This corn, like I said, was planted about 2 weeks earlier than the corn in the backyard, and it should be ready any day now, really. I'm checking it. But yeah, it's nice and healthy. We have our pear tree with just a couple of pears on there that are not quite ready yet. That guy definitely needs to be cut back. And then at the base of that tree is a bunch of morning glories that just took off. And our potatoes are dying back, and again, I'm not really sure what's happening with that. Gotta get in there and see if they just finished their cycle or maybe they were just unhappy. Alright, this bed here has several tomatoes in it. 3 tomatoes, and a couple of peppers. Peppers are not doing so well, but the tomatoes are just taking off. The tomatoes in the back are yellow taxis, the nice yellow ones that are my favorites. And then the one in the middle is a little cherry tomato that we got as a transplant. And then the one in the front, I honestly don't know what it's called. It was given to us as a transplant, and it's kind of a mystery tomato, but they're red. So, you know, I'll take it. Again, bucket of sick potatoes, another bucket of not as sick potatoes, but definitely not happy. As you can see, our apple tree is happy on 3 branches and completely overrun on the 4th branch. Look at all those apples. It's going to be a good year for apples. This bed has asparagus in it, and those purple flowers are Russian sage that have come over from the other side of the fence. They are laid down now because of the rain, but there is asparagus growing in that bed. It's the first year we put them in, so they're 3rd year asparagus, so we won't have any for a little bit, but it's a start. I'll show you this giant sunflower here. Pretty awesome. The fence is a 6-foot fence, so my guess is that that sunflower right now is about 9 feet tall. It's just starting to form its big head. Pretty cool. Alright, here we have our second apple tree. This apple tree is doing a little bit better on the other 3 branches. Not as off balance on that final 4th branch, but it's doing well. Pretty happy. Here we have strawberries that are just starting to flower again. Some kale tucked in the background, a couple of weeds. Rhubarb, which definitely needs to be harvested. It's looking a little overrun and sad. And then we have our echinacea, which is just doing phenomenally again. Tucked back behind the echinacea, you'll see one lonely little grapevine. And if I can get close enough, you'll probably be able to make out some grapes in there. Really hoping we can beat the beat the birds to the grapes this year. We have our little lemon tree on its stand. Another little volunteer sunflower. And then over here in the corner, you can see this tomato took quite a beating last night with all the wind and rain. But that tomato is a black Krim, and I need to give it some support up there in the corner, but as you can see, it's pretty tall. When it reaches up all the way up into that corner of the portal. And then in that little bed there is also some basil and mint, so I've been hacking that back as well. So that is our yard at the beginning of August. Things are doing okay. I'm desperately trying to put in my fall and winter garden, trying to get ahead of the curve this time because I've been so bad about it for the last couple of years. I'm about 2/3 of the way there, and I am determined to have a successful winter garden this year. So wish me luck. I hope you all have an awesome August, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.